Shalom everyone, shalom people of God. I go by the name Ruben Mike, I'm also known as Ruby MC. If you're joining us for the very first time, I'd love you to go below this video and click on the subscribe button. I also love to say a very big welcome to you and God bless you. So what we want to be doing today, we want to check 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 1 to 16. We want to know what Paul meant when he said that a woman's head needs to be covered when she's praying or prophesying. We want to know if it is the cloth or hat or scarf like our women wear in churches today, or we want to know if it is the natural hair like some of our other sisters do in some end time churches. We want to know which is which. We want to know what is the truth. Is it the hair or is it a piece of cloth? So please stay tuned as we move ahead. Don't go nowhere. Ensure you watch this video to the end and God bless you. Now, I've had a lot of Christians and Bible scholars say that this doctrine of the covering of the hair is not connected to salvation or rapture. But as we read down, you're going to notice that Paul said that this is the custom of the church. So if it's the custom of the church, then it means that every church that claims to be a true church have to be doing this same custom. I don't know if you understand. And we are to be judged by Paul's gospel. So any church that is not doing what Paul preached or not practicing what the early Christians practiced, then how then do you say you are saved? How then do you say you are going to make the rapture? Because we are built on the doctrines of the apostles. We are built on the message of the apostles. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So let's move ahead. Now, Paul, being an apostle that God used to bring the message to the Gentiles, wrote in 1 Corinthians chapter 11 from verse 1 to 16, and I'll just touch a few scriptures. He said in verse 4 that every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonoreth his head. That shows that a man should not cover his head. Verse 5, he said, but every woman that prayeth or prophesied with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. Now, verse 6, for if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. So the big question is this: what is the woman's covering? But before we go into that, let's read the rest of the scriptures. Now, you can take your time to read the scriptures, 1 Corinthians 11 verse 1 to 16 by yourself, but I'm just going to be touching two verses now, which is verse 15 and 16. It says, but if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering. But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of God. Now, Paul is saying a woman should have long hair. That hair is her glory. The hair is given her for a covering. That the hair is her covering. That's what Paul is actually saying. And the next verse, and I said, but if any man is arguing this, he said there is no custom of such. That's why a woman not having long hair and not using the hair to cover her head is not a custom of the churches of God. That's what Paul is saying. Now, a lot of people have argued this, saying that the covering is supposed to be a piece of cloth or scarf. We want to hear from the prophet of the Lord, William Branham, that the Lord sent to the Laodicean church age, which is the last church age sent to the end time. Let's see what he says. And for those of you that don't know William Branham, Malachi prophesied about him in Malachi chapter 4. John also spoke about him in the book of Revelations. A lot of your preachers today, a lot of our preachers today, like Benahim, Chris Oyakilome, a lot of them, they all give reference to William Branham because he's the angel sent to the Laodicean church age. So nobody jokes with what William Branham says. So I'm going to be quoting from the Church Order and Doctrine that was written by William Branham. What is contained in this Church Order and Doctrine? Church Order and Doctrine is about how the church ought to be, how the church ought to be conducted. So let's hear from William Branham. For those that have the COD, I'm quoting from question 73 COD page 329. Why hair because of angels of 1 Corinthians? Now I'll just be rushing through. It says here, now we get just a minute and show you that the hair to the woman is her covering. Can you see that? And over here he said, if a man, for a man indeed ought not to cover his head, that is have long hair. So even to the man too is the hair. Now here he says, don't you see what Paul is talking about? Hair, long hair. If the woman ought to have long hair. Can you see it? Now he goes on to say, now what's he talking about? A hat that you Catholic people wear in church? No, indeed. A little covering over the top of your head with a handkerchief. He's talking about your hair. Now this next part is just the finishing of everything. He said, but if the woman has long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given to her for a covering. Did he say she'd be given a hat? You Catholic people or you Protestants, either one that goes to church and want to wear a hat, say, well, I'm going to church, or to put on a hat. No, you ought to let your hair grow. That's the difference. See, for her hair is given to her for a covering, and it's a shame for her to come in the church without cover to go to the altar to pray. So the covering is the hair. Can you see what Bro Branham is saying?
So for those who will be like, no, it's the scarf, you are wrong. No, it's the scarf, it's the hair tie, it cannot be the long hair. I want to ask a question. When God created Eve, did God go and hire a tailor to sew a scarf for Eve before Eve could pray? And if a woman is in the bathroom taking a bath and she wants to pray, she has to rush out of the bedroom to go and look for her tie before she will pray to her God. Does God need a tailor to make his creation perfect? Did God not create Adam and Eve perfect without the help of a tailor or anything? Think about it, brethren. Think about it.
Now, you'll be surprised to note what I found out on the internet when I went to research the history of head tie and scarf, because some of my African Christian brothers told me that head tie is African culture, that it started from Africa. So I went online to go and do my research to know where head tie and scarf really came from, and what I discovered will shock you. Now, the first thing I found goes thus. In America, the head wrap was a utilitarian item which kept the slave's hair protected from the elements in which he worked and helped to curb the spread of lice. You can imagine that. Now, historically in the US, head wraps were imposed on black women as a badge of enslavement by white masters. In this way, the head covering was used to distinguish between black people without power from those who held it. Can you see that head tie and head wraps is connected to slavery? Now, the next one reads thus. A beautiful and symbolic expression of identity and style, the traditional African head wrap is so much more than a fabric to cover the head. The gloriously woven head wraps are an undeniable statement of African culture and celebration, but that has not always been the case. Before becoming an iconic fashion statement, they were associated with slavery and colonialism. Can you see that? So I went back in time to check how African women dressed before colonization, and some pictures I came up with are going to shock you. You'll discover that there was nothing like hair ties on their head. Every woman was just showing their natural hair, and the following pictures that I'm going to be showing after this are going to be proving me right. So stay tuned.
I don't know where to turn, cause the truth be say me, I don't suffer, and I don't wanna be wrong. I want a life for me and my kids and their mother. Heaven hear me cry. I'm looking for a way to make a difference. The world looks up to me. The foes wanna prove me with no evidence. Guide me lest I fall. I just left crawling and learning how to stand. Hear me when I call. Come and guide me, hold me by the hand. Shebi, iwo, loni bimbako kuwa shifu mi. Shebi, iwo, loni bimbape rewa fifu mi. Shebi, iwo.
So please feel free to drop your comment. Tell me what you think Paul was referring to. Is it the head tie or the scarf or the natural hair? And please don't forget to subscribe. God bless you. See you some other time, and thanks for watching.